Welcome to another edition of Insurance Questions Podcast. On this episode, will Donnie know how to put a sentence together? Will Sarah stop looking on the internet and playing games while she's watching our show? Will Eddie?
Hey, solitaire is fun. Leave me be.
Will Eddie just annoy everybody like he normally does? We'll find out today on Insurance Questions Podcast number 123. Potluck Thursday with Donny Lo. Today is the 15th of August, 2024. How y'all doing?
Man, I can't believe August is half over. And to answer your question, only the shadow knows.
Only the shadow.
You ain't gonna know what that means. You even know what that means, Sarah.
No,
you're just giggling.
That is hilarious.
It was an old time radio program, actually.
Back when Donnie was in his 40s.
Yeah, they invented this thing. You can hear voices coming out of a box, and I used to wonder how they put all those people in this small little box,
I don't know. My question is, what
disclaimer.
Did you guys watch? Did you guys watch? Only those disclaimer, yeah. All the comments and statements by Eddie Buffalo, Sassy Sarah, and Donny Lo are purely for entertainment purposes. Say your stuff, Sarah.
And like, share, subscribe, do all the things on all the places. Bug Eddie on TikTok because he actually really, really, really loves it.
Really.
And I'm not being facetious. He likes the interactions and the attention. So.
That's right. And hit that fan mail button to send us messages and view those videos. Yeah, because I'll tell you, if you're only listening to an audio, you're really missing out on the expressions. Yes. Sarah really taking a sip and something said she's almost spitting everything out.
Yes.
And the looks on Eddie's face.
So did you guys watch any of the Olympics? Either one of you?
I watched very little.
Trivia question, which I didn't know until I was looking at something Monday morning. In 4 years, where is the Summer Games going to be next? What city?
I know.
You know, sir, don't look it up. Don't look it up.
She's typing away.
Well, say it, Don, so she doesn't.
Los Angeles, California.
Okay. Yeah, because it gave me Paris, and I'm like, that's where they are now.
So if we're all still alive, I think we need to broadcast from the Olympics in LA in 4 years.
That would be cool.
Sarah's shaking her head already before she even says anything.
You know what might be even better?
What?
Let's broadcast for the Winter Olympics.
Where's the Winter Olympics, Don?
It's in Italy.
In
Milan.
Yes.
You want to go there because you're Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
I am totally for that. Yes, we will go to Italy.
That would be fun. Except there's going to be no breakdancing or breaking in the Winter Olympics for sure.
I'd say I'm sure you're talking about Italy because that's where Billy was last night. I know you stalk him on Facebook.
No, I don't. His feeds just come up. He was in Italy, and
but Don knows all about where you are, Billy. So I'd be scared.
Well, no,
restraining order should be taken out against Donny Lo.
I can't remember the next stop. Switzerland, maybe. I'm not sure.
So he's gonna get some chocolate. Is that what he's gonna do?
Ooh, chocolate.
Now
you're speaking.
Donnie, I know you got a bunch of stuff to talk about, but I want to throw something out there because I did a little bit of research this morning. And we've talked about BRICS quite a bit in the past. And once again, what does BRICS stand for, Don?
Well, it's a currency that they're trying to get organized between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and Saudi Arabia. That's the BRICS acronym. Mm-hmm. But there are other countries that have jumped on board.
Want to keep on joining. But I mean, the best thing we got going for us is that having all those countries agree on one thing is going to be tough.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason it was a very interesting article I was reading this morning. So if BRICS was happening right now, how much would the American dollar be worth?
Ooh,
it's scary.
I don't know. Is it like 75 cents on the dollar? Maybe.
How about you, Sarah? You got any guesses? I know you don't like guessing.
If BRICS was to happen right now, how much was what?
An American dollar be worth?
Versus a BRICS dollar.
75 cents.
That's what Don said.
Oh.
That's how much she's paying attention, Don, to you. See how it is? Yeah, you guys say I don't pay attention. Jesus.
I know.
But 50 cents seems too low, so I went with 75 cents.
Yeah,
but not that I'm saying what Donnie's
based on Eddie's response to my answer, you should have said something totally different. So
well, I know. Well, so here's my logic, right? So most currencies, it's around $1 or a little bit above or a little bit less. It hovers around that amount, from my knowledge, like 1.15 for euros. And so I'm like, 50 cents is too low. So I went at 75 cents. To me, that just sounds about right.
Well, you're right. 50 cents is too low. But if BRICS was happening right now, they're guesstimating that the price of a U.S. dollar would only be worth 60 cents.
Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, it kind of reminds me like when I was younger and we would go up to Canada and there was so much of a difference on the American dollar and Canada. I used to always go up to the casinos up there because you're getting like $1.55.
Yeah.
At one point for every U.S. dollar. So it was like you're getting, you're losing, 1.5 times more than you do in America.
That's right.
Canadian dollars.
Ironically, this past weekend, we were talking about the exchange rate.
You were gambling in Canada?
No. But we were talking about the exchange rate for U.S. dollar versus Canadian dollar. And it was every $1 U.S. is worth $1.38 of Canadian money.
Isn't that crazy?
Canada dollar. So that's almost like BRICS because that's almost 40% less their dollars to ours,
It's funny. I don't know if I only went there a bunch of times because Katie goes to Niagara University. But if you go to that outlet mall in Niagara Falls, USA, there is a ton of Canadian license plates in that place. So even though they're getting beat up on their dollar, they're still getting better deals in America than they are back home. That's insane.
Yes, and for anybody that has never experienced that phenomena of Canadian shoppers coming across the border into the United States.
I'm going to mute myself because they're cutting my grass again.
Oh, that grass grows fast. Holy cow.
I know, right?
But what you'll see is like a lot of the Canadian shoppers will come across, they'll buy a bunch of different clothing. They'll literally, like when they come across, they'll wear their oldest stuff that they want to get rid of. They'll change for the new clothes, toss out the old clothes so they don't pay the duty. They don't claim it for the duty going back into Canada.
I mean, that makes sense, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But another ironic thing is on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, there is a beautiful new, well, I don't know how new, but an outlet mall that is beautiful. It's kind of near Niagara on the Lake. So, which is, just a few miles heading north and east from Niagara Falls, but on the Canadian side. And so it's I don't know, it's baffling to understand why they still come here, but
you guys
they do.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Bitcoin.
So here's the thing. I grew up where my mom. Hold on, Eddie. So I grew up where my mom was like a couponer, and she saved everything. And if a company, let's say she went fast food, which we didn't do a lot of because we just ate whatever she cooked. But let's say she ordered something and it was 40 cents, and they did not give her that 40 cents item, she would go back and get her 40 cents back. So I can see people coming across, trying to save money wherever they can. I mean, it makes perfect sense, especially when you can just go across the border. You're close enough to the border to get something like that.
Yeah, because the prices are still lower here in the States than they are in Canada, even with the exchange. So they still make out typically. But so what were you going to say, Ed, about...
Yeah, sorry about that, Eddie.
About Bitcoin?
I don't know if you guys can hear me or not because they're still going outside here.
No,
so Bitcoin is down 2.18 this morning at a price of 58,994.80. It dipped down to under 50,000 over the weekend. It hovered around there.
Oh, wow.
And everything's still going down. I know a lot of people are into Ethereum too, and I mean that's down 18.47%. So the market and Bitcoin, everything's going crazy, and it's starting to become a hot button politically because they want to regulate this stuff. Right now, I mean, it's been like the wild, wild west.
Here's the thing with that potential regulation of cryptocurrency. It's not just the United States. So this would be a global regulation and monitoring and control. And that's why there are people that, that was not the intent of why cryptocurrency was invented, I guess, or established, and why it took off so fast was that the people didn't want governmental control, not only in the United States, but across the world with all the different countries, all the different economies. And so that was a huge thing with that.
The IRS also came out with the templates this week just to kind of show a lot of traders what it will look like and how they need to report digital currency trades for the 2024 tax filing.
Which, again, is kind of crazy, but...
they're not going to give up money. I mean, granted, both parties that are running for the election are trying to get rid of taxes on tips, whether that happens or not, because it has to go through Congress. But that's what they're both going on. And then I don't think Social Security should be taxed. But, who am I?
And as you mentioned previously, it was never taxed until the early 1980s, I believe, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think that was under President Reagan with a Democrat-controlled House.
Yes.
So, so that kind of balance of power, and they put that through.
And it really makes you think. I mean, things are going crazy right now. What's it going to look like as we get closer to the election? Because something's going to happen, either good or bad. You just really don't know. So I guess leads into what you wanted to talk about today, your annuity rates, Don.
Yeah, so with everything happening in the economy, they're trying to ease up on interest rates. So home mortgage rates are down a little bit now. So we're starting to see a little uptick in home purchases, or at least offers being made. The real estate market it's like two different animals there, because on one hand, there's decreasing prices where there was a lot of overbuilding going on, like in Florida as an example. And yet I was talking with a real estate agent 2 weeks ago. The inventory is still tight, at least like in the upstate New York market. So he was telling me he was representing a buyer, and they were one of 44 offers on a property, and they bid $100,000 above the asking price, and they still did not get the deal.
It's crazy. I mean, a couple doors away from my house back in South Buffalo, I mean, the person overbid $90,000 to get the house. And you know what's killing it is that a lot of these are cash offers. Yeah. So if you're waiting for a mortgage and they don't want to wait on their money, they're going to take that cash offer. And you got to remember that's also hurting the banks because they're not making any money on giving people loans for houses.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why you'll see a lot of banks, especially in Texas. I mean, I'm looking at like 6% on a $10,000 deposit on a savings account. That's unheard of.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It kind of like makes me think they're competing with life insurance, because most life insurance, whole life, you're looking at about 6% dividends a year, come or take a little bit. There you go.
Yeah, depending on the company.
It's funny how different the states are. I don't know if you read anything this morning about the inventory of houses in Texas, Sarah. right now they say there's a surplus of like 133,000 homes that are sitting empty in the state of Texas. So you're going to start seeing prices go down finally when, I mean, they've been going up and up so much where.
So here's the thing. It's a catch-22. Yes, I think it'll go down a little bit. Mm-hmm. The problem is the value has gone up on a lot of the houses. So I don't think it's going to go down as much as they think it's going to go. The problem that happened is with everybody who came here from 2020 for the last 3 years, they started doing new home builds. Yep. Everywhere you go, there's a new home. And it's like, the thing that always frustrates me is, yes, I understand everybody wants to maximize profits, but you can't come in and build 1 million homes because all you're going to do is screw up the market and crash it. Like, stop.
Yeah. Well, are you really going to say no when somebody wants to give you $1 million for a house? That's talk about a catch-22. You know?
Same thing in Florida.
The problem, though, is when you flood the market, you screw it up and the bubble bursts, and then there's a recession in that area because everybody was so greedy to go into it. And yes, I get it. You want to go and maximize profits. I completely understand it from a business standpoint, but then is it worth crashing the freaking economy because you're that freaking greedy?
Yeah, but that's macro thinking. They think micro. You know, they think their own company.
I know.
There's a lot of new communities that they've only been around 2 or 3 years, and you'll go through those neighborhoods now 2 and 3 years later, and you see a ton of houses for sale. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times because they couldn't afford it, not because they can't afford their mortgage, they can't afford how high their taxes have gone up, especially if things are growing up around them. I mean, the big place right now is Prosper, Texas. You know, and a lot of beautiful homes there, you know, not a lot of foliage because there's pretty much a lot of flat land. But I mean, Universal Studios is building a brand new place, like 1.5 miles. Not only are your taxes going to go up, but how's the traffic going to be around there? I wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah. No, it's going to be horrible. Well, and you're running into a lot of issues, not only with that, but because of how quickly all the builds were going. Because I know here in McKinney, I was looking at some of the houses that they were flipping, and it was very shoddy work. Like, I would go into the bathroom and you see a gap between the wall and the shower, like, spout. Oh. And it's like, look, I get you're just trying to do a quick flip, but can you do it properly? So with the new builds, how quickly they were going up, not saying all builders cut corners. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I can only, from an accounting standpoint, probability, some of those houses were probably shoddy where it wasn't done complete to par and people were just getting into houses or the jobs would move. Now you have the company saying, hey, now you need to come into office. I know you moved 5 states away. Now you need to move back. Yeah. There's so many different issues that are coming up, but you also have the companies that were coming in and purchasing all these houses that were on the market too, reducing the shortage. Like Zillow went through that. They were buying houses and turning it over for rent or flipping it even more, coming in, fixing it, selling it for higher.
And look what happened with that venture with Zillow. It turned on them big time. They lost so much money.
BlackRock and some of the other larger companies were buying houses too. So it's one of those weird, you have too many people who came in the market. Then you have the companies who also stopped purchasing all of those. And then people who had extra money buying houses to rent out. All of this is going into the now where we see it, where the market, there's so many freaking houses on the market. And it will eventually right itself. That's all it's been doing.
Yeah, it always does, you know, but unfortunately some people get hurt in the process. So I was going to say, for people that know, like they're getting their first house or second house, maybe they wanted to upsize or down right size or whatever. They say, yes, I know that I paid $100,000 more than what I probably should have. However, this is where I want to be for the next 10, 20, 30 years or whatever.
Right.
And that's fine. So eventually things will even out and they won't be underwater. But the only other thing is on that point is the taxes, the property and school taxes. How much more are they paying? And if that keeps going up, their assessment keeps going up, so therefore their taxes keep going up. Will they be able to afford that aspect? But knowing that, yes, I'm paid $100,000 more. I paid $500,000 for a house that 6 months ago or a year ago I would have paid $400,000 for. Okay, it is what it is. But I'm going to be staying here, unless unforeseen circumstances. But another thing to your point with flipping and the work, during the pandemic, there were two major things going on, right? Amongst everything else, but in the housing market, one was supply, because supply had just literally shut off. And instead of getting something, some supplies for roofing material or whatever, a week or 2 weeks later, it was 4, 5, 6 months. So that put a big stranglehold on things. And the second thing, so that issue's really been taken care of now. The second biggest thing, though, is there aren't enough competent tradespeople that know what they're doing to put up a frame on a house, put up block on a house, put in drywall. The talented ones are so hard to get. So the contractors, the builders, are paying more for that labor, and then they might lose because it's a great team where, well, this other builder is offering us $50,000 more a year, or whatever the case might be. So that's the other dynamic there too that is affecting the market big time. At least for new inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I cut you off, Ed. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's fine. It's scary. You got to think of the job market too. Where are these people getting? What kind of job do they have that they can afford all these new builds? It's got to end eventually. Luckily I don't have little kids anymore, but going to the grocery store every week, it seems like something's gone up. Even like stupid stuff like cheese, I saw go up almost a quarter in 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
It isn't like it got any better,
It's ironic. For a celebration we had over the weekend, my task was I had to buy ice cream, right? So I go, to the supermarket. I pick out a half gallon of ice cream. So how much, is, if we remember our basic math and all that, how many quarts are in a half gallon?
Right.
2, right?
Yeah.
2 quarts. So I come home, I look at the package closer. It wasn't a half gallon of ice cream.
What was it?
Was 1.5 quarts, not 2 quarts.
But it looked the same?
But you know what? After I looked at it, I thought, you know what? Yeah. It is a little bit smaller.
I remember those big old like Pops and Breyers ice cream when I was a kid. Those big containers,
Well, and so that's what they do, is to keep the prices the same, they reduce how much you get so you don't notice it. And then when the prices go up, then they shrink it even more. Yeah. Like it's one of those and I know that Congress is looking into the grocery stores, the major ones, who are charging an arm and a leg for groceries, but they're reporting huge freaking profits. And some of the things that I read earlier this week is it stated that they're not taking the excuses that they've received so far from the companies. So there may be some relief hopefully soon with the grocery stores. My thing is it's hard for me to put faith that in government that they're going to do the right thing by the people, because I have yet to see it. Yeah. So there's a few occasions here and there, but for the most part, I know that the people who got hit really hard with the hurricane the last week, the IRS is extending their due date. I've seen that when it comes to really bad environmental
like natural disasters
in locations. Yeah. they'll extend on that basis, which is fantastic for those in those areas.
Oh, yeah.
But that's about all I've seen.
Yeah. But Ed, this, what Sarah just said absolutely affects you. How much smaller are the Pop-Tarts you get for the same price than they were?
I try not to think about
ago?
it, Don. I haven't been sleeping well thinking about it. Let me tell you.
I know.
Dawson,
hey, you
should reach out to Kellogg's and be like, "Hey, give me the extra benefit. Give me the right sizes."
They're getting skimpy on the frosting. I don't know about that.
Yeah, the frosting's not quite as close to the edge as it used to be.
Doesn't cover it as much as it used to. So that is a scary time for all us Pop-Tart lovers.
Pop-Tarts, did you see that those oversized Pop-Tarts they were selling?
No. All I saw is what you sent me last week, the pumpkin pie Pop-Tarts, which sounds disgusting.
Yeah, there's this other thing, and I don't know the exact size, but they're supposedly like much larger. They did it as an experiment, I guess, or a test, and evidently they sold out.
That's crazy.
I'm 73% bigger or something like that. Well, it even fit in a toaster.
They also have something called Poppies, which is little mini Pop-Tarts. They're just like small.
That's like Wizard of Oz. They fell asleep in the poppies field.
Poppies, right? Lay down in the poppy field, Don, and eat your Pop-Tart.
You should Google it, Eddie, because I don't know if you would like those. You could just pop them in your mouth.
No, I like
you flip it up into there.
Into it.
So,
but I'm looking for the oversized because I'm like,
oh yeah, look for the oversized one. So while you're Googling and doing your research, getting back, because we talked about the interest rates are falling a little bit. The Fed is trying to, we're going to see what happens with the Fed. But so what does that do with annuities? The annuity interest rates are also starting to decrease. So, if somebody's on the fence, they're thinking, you know what? An annuity does sound right for me. I would say, sooner rather than later, because it's projected that interest rates are going to keep falling. Maybe, especially with the election coming up. So
that's going to
lock in now. Yeah, lock in now if that's the route you want to take. Don't wait a month or 2 months because, just in earlier July and June, they were above 5%. 5.25%, 5.5%. Now they're like 4.9, 4.7, 4.5.
I mean, in the spring, that one product was up 12.25. And not enough people took advantage of it. Every time I submitted something, they're like, "Oh, we're so busy, Eddie." And you don't see that anymore.
No, you don't. I know exactly. So, yeah, that just kind of coming full circle with the interest rates for annuities.
It is.
But it's still a good idea, if you're looking for a low risk, very stable investment opportunity, guaranteed income for your future, or even within a year. An annuity is still a very good vehicle for that.
Yeah, I really don't care for that. We're talking all doom and gloom all the time the past couple of weeks, but the one bright point is you can get into a fixed annuity that it's going to be secure for you. So I mean, if you're looking for a bright spot, I think that's what it is right there, Don.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have the money and the wherewithal to get into an annuity, figure out what you can afford to put in there. I mean, most of them start at about $10,000, and make sure you talk to the right people. I mean, if you're at a certain age, we're going to tell you to do different things. It's not one size fits all, which goes back to one of our shows a couple weeks ago. With annuities, it is not one size fits all. It's going to be different for everybody, depending on your goals and your needs, what you want to do for yourself and your family. So the best advice I can get you is to talk to somebody that does what we do. If it isn't us, talk to somebody in your local area. But if you do want to talk to us, you can reach us at www.ebiagency.com or our hotline, which is 716-306-2020. And if we can't help you, we'll get you to somebody that can help you, because that's what's important to me anyways. And I know you feel the same way, Don.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We don't have all the answers.
No.
But we have a lot of contacts, so we know who we can refer you to, and that's important.
And you pay what you get for. I mean, when you're dealing with people that have been in the industry for the number of years that we have been in, I got great stories and I got horrible stories, and they're all true.
Yeah.
The longer we're in this business, the more we see. And just when I think I saw everything, something else comes along,
Oh, I know. That's very true. But I think the term is you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
Not you pay what you get for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am Polish, so what are you going to do? Half Polish, half Irish, which I finally found a Texan that I told a Polish joke to, and they laughed.
Oh my goodness!
I think they were just being.
Finally,
I think they were just being nice, though. So
yeah,
I don't think they really understood it. Yeah.
The poor waitress at the restaurant, she wanted to get a tip, so she laughed.
Giggle, giggle, giggle. So, well, I think we're gonna cut this a little bit short today. Good show, good information.
Yeah.
Some good stuff, some bad stuff, but it's all stuff that you have to keep your head on a swivel and watch for the way things are going right now. Yeah. I hate to keep on saying the world's on fire, but every time you pick up a newspaper or watch CNN, Fox, Sky News, whatever you watch, it's not been great, guys. It really hasn't.
It's been crazy. It's been crazy.
But we'll all get through this. We always do. As a friend of ours, John Foster, used to say, "Hey, when you look back at something, it's never as bad as you thought it was."
That's right.
So we will get through this. And please, if you need to get a hold of us, like I said, once again, www.ebiagency.com or our hotline, which is 716-306-2020. So for me, your buddy out in Buffalo, Sassy Sarah and Donny Lo, I wish everybody a lot of luck, and we'll see you next Tuesday for Tax Tips with Sassy Sarah.
That's right. Ciao.
Bye.
Take care now.